Broadcasting from our studio in Ocala, Florida, I'm Brody Barcode.
I'm Ryan James.
And welcome to the Parlor, your hub for independent art and entertainment, as well as a platform to showcase independent artists and entertainers abroad. Now that's gourmet.
That it is.
Hanging out with us tonight in the Parlor Theater is the incredibly talented independent artist, as well as iconic horror actor, Mr. Bill Oberst Jr., as well, and also producer and writer. And damn, Bill, you got over 200 film credits under your belt. So it's fantastic. It's really incredible getting to hang out with you tonight, man. How doing?
How do you say welcome to the Parlor at exactly the same time? Do you have like a foot tap or something?
No, it's practice.
That was like take 300.
Could you do it again right now if you had to?
Yeah.
All right. So, broadcasting from our studio in Ocala, Florida, I'm Brody Barcode.
I'm Ryan James.
And welcome to the Parlor, your hub for independent art and entertainment, as well as a platform to showcase independent artists and entertainers abroad. I'm gonna
damn.
Woo! That's gourmet.
I'll bet you if you laid that footage side by side, you could almost like morph them. That's beautiful. You boys would be great in commercials. I can't get shit in commercials ordinarily because I don't want to do the same thing over and over again, but you're really good at it.
Well, this is the only part that we have to do over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay. And which is fine.
Yeah. Sweating bullets. But after so many interviews, you finally like, okay, we're doing a little better. I still get so effing nervous like every time. I'm like, do not F this up.
And there's been moments where we've recorded it where it's like, oh man. And I just look at him and was like, I could cut it out.
Yeah. And that's where I'm telling the guests, like we were talking before, like, I'm so sorry, guys. We're going to reshoot this now.
And the thing is, it doesn't bother me. I like having the fun aspect of it. It's like, and one day I might just sneak that in and he's going to go, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Right in the final cut.
I have the power.
I can already tell this will be fun.
Absolutely. So, well, with being hopefully a happy new year here for you, how's the first couple months of this new year been? How's things going?
Not bad. Shooting started back up again. Ironically, I just bitched about not getting commercials, but I just did a Bitcoin commercial. And I think it's going to air. You never know, because Bitcoin's doing really well. And it was a lot of fun, very cinematic, as they were recreating a iconic action movie sequence. And I was the bad guy, of course. And it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
And work is good, knock on wood. And it's kind of weird, shooting. Theater's dead. Theater's the other half of my career, and it's just dead.
Yeah.
Until at least
here.
touring theater, until there's we get herd immunity. And shooting's weird because the director's trying to you're just trying to read their eyes. But yeah, it is what it is, and I'm glad things are coming back.
That's fantastic.
It's going to be a slow process, and not all actors move over to the film world very easily, especially if they're accustomed to being so big on larger stages and larger scale productions. It's hard to tone things back. I'm so low key. Most of the time, the directors tell me, "All right, we need it ramped up. We need it a little bit bigger.
Right, bring it up." I
we're
remember
only in
doing
a 400-seat house. Come on.
Yeah.
I did a commercial audition in LA, and I don't know, it was some thief, and he's stolen something. And they were like, okay, and now we see the guilt in your eyes. And so I did guilt, but I did film guilt. And he was like, I'm not seeing anything. And I said, it's right here. And he said, next. So, yeah.
I have a hard time doing that, but I've had friends tell me that I'm better for film, but then I've gotten, really good responses on stage, but that was also after 3 or 4 nights of being into the run. I got a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
But that's normally how the runs go. But if you're doing community theater, you're not necessarily being paid for it. So that's a whole different story.
And camera work is, I mean, it's nothing but eyes, right?
Yeah.
When
A
it comes
majority
down
of the
to
time,
it,
yeah.
like, I heard a De Niro thing on YouTube, and he said, people always ask, what's the best thing to do on camera? The answer, nothing. And he's really right. You just like, for anger, you're not going to act as if you're angry. All you have to do really is just let the word anger run through your brain, and then your eyes do the rest. It's really strange how the camera can tell if you're lying.
Yeah.
That is also true. I mean, most of the time everybody looks at me and it's like, you look like you're mad. You're angry.
Uh-huh.
No, that's just my face. That's the face of the villain, 100%. But it's fun, so I can't complain.
Yeah, people make these judgments based on, my theory is that it's from back when we were cavemen. Like, we have all these archetypes. So there's certain type of faces that say beware, and maybe it's connected to reptiles or other, eyes narrow versus eyes wide and set apart. Baby does aren't going to hurt you, but snakes can bite you.
Right.
And so we have these instinctive reactions to faces. I was in Odessa, Texas, shooting Circus of the Dead, and during the day, it's hot as shit in Odessa. So we shoot mostly at night. So during the day, I'm walking from my hotel to Walmart. It's like 3 miles. I figure I'm going to walk. So I'm walking, and a car pulls over to the side of the road. I got like a white beater on, and I thought I looked pretty good. And a car pulls over and says, "Hey, do you know I can get any meth?" I was like, "No." And he said, "Oh, I just assumed." And he drove off.
Well, people around here do the same thing. So
To you?
Yes. But that's because of my eyes.
He's the bad
mine
guy.
too.
Because of my eyes. Yes.
Thank you.
Most of the time mine are bloodshot because of my medical condition, and I don't sleep well because of course my eyes are going to be bloodshot.
And I have a cadaverous body, and most of the time I look pissed off because that's my resting expression. But why would you think I had meth?
That is a very good question in response. It's like, why would you think just because I look like this doesn't mean anything?
It was the wife beater. That's what sold it.
Oh.
So stereotypical. The National Wife Beater Association really resents you saying that, Brody. They've been working hard to give wife beaters a new image, although maybe if they changed the name, it would help, right?
Well, for the film that I was in, Loverboy, I played a drunken wife beater, and yes, I had to wear one.
Of course, because they always do that every time, every effing time. Wardrobe will say, "I'm not sure what we're going to put you in," and I'm thinking, I do. We don't know. We haven't. And then what does it come down? Just the director comes in and says, "Put him in a wife beater."
Throw in a mustard stain.
Always with the mustard stains and the sweat stains. And you know how hard it is to mic a wife beater? Because you got the little line that runs down there. You can't properly mic a wife beater.
No, unless it's always front shots, and then they're putting the wires somewhere to mask it on your face.
Exactly. So you end up booming it.
Yeah.
Which is better than a movie I did called Nude Nuns with Big Guns. Where I'm getting ready to go on set, and the sound guy comes in and says, "I got to put a wire on Bill," and the director's like, "Good luck." So yeah, it's a glamorous business.
Well, yeah, yeah.
You were just dealing with wires on one of those last shoots, wasn't it? I didn't know if I needed to say the name to name drop the film.
I'm also an actor, and I've wound up taking on more roles in the movie that's being shot here called Signal Lost Revelations.
Mm-hmm.
I play, ironically enough, the villain, or one of the villains, and the cinematographer, before they got me as the sound guy, is using lapel mics and trying to mic people up and stuff like that. I mean, they're neat mics, just a little overly sensitive, but we're using our phones as the recorders. Okay, not bad. Not a bad mobile idea. I mean, we've seen some of the same concepts in what is it? The World After Tomorrow or something like that. No, it was the one shot in Disney.
The new world. No. Oh, give me a second.
Screw it. I'm gonna get my phone and look it up.
Day after, not day after tomorrow.
Nope.
No.
I own it and I can't remember what it is.
It was shot in black and white.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
What is it? Oh, come on, load.
Tomorrowland? No.
Tomorrowland's a different movie.
No,
That's one with George Clooney.
Yeah.
Escape from Tomorrow.
There it was.
There it is. And I mean, they shot all the film in Disney World. They had lapel mics on people and they hid underneath the mouse for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
And they got it done. It was amazing. Very odd movie. But
almost kind of Lynchian.
Yeah, very. But it was cool
style.
for the fact that they did full on guerrilla film and that, and they were like ninjas.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the movie, I'm seeing these areas that I've walked through myself a million times, and it was really cool in that aspect. But
almost playing it off like tourist and
yeah,
that to be able to get the shots. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But yes, lapel miking people is a very difficult thing, especially whenever you don't have somebody with a mixing console in order to tweak them down, especially if they're overly sensitive and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of extra work in post.
Boom sound is good sound, right?
Yes.
Boom sound's always good sound. If you got a boom guy or girl who'll get in there.
Yeah.
But that's another peeve. If they won't get in there, we were shooting Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies down in Savannah, and Richard Shinkman was the director. And we had a couple of days where the regular boom wasn't there. We had the other boom, and he'd be like, hold on. Where are you? I'm sorry. Where are you? I'm right here. Where are the actors? I'm right here. What is the problem with this equation? Why are you not in there? Get in there. Get in there. And so they tentatively dip in. Get in there. He'd grab the boom and like, wham, it's down in the shot. Now go up. You're out. Stay there.
Oh,
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how to boom. Get in there. And when you're just out, you're right. But some people, they won't like, if we're shooting here, you got all this down here for boom and the boom's over here. So I can't really work it intimately. Get in there.
Yeah.
That should be a good motto in life, shouldn't it?
Get in there. That's how the Parlor started. We got in there and we started doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. That's exactly right. And
so this is like half interview and half industry bitch session, which I really like.
Well, hey, we're here for you.
And you are hanging out in good company. You are hanging out in the Parlor. So
excellent. There's nothing more fun than bitching about the business.
It's a hard business. We know. We've been in. We've been in it.
Well,
we're still in it.
Absolutely. Nonstop. Speaking of the business, Bill, I was just going to ask, like, as far as the contrast, rolling the clocks back about 7 years when we actually got to meet up for the first time, when I was working on casting you in 333, which, by the way, everybody, that is still on hold at the moment. It's just back burner. But during that time frame, you had actually did a really, really fantastic episode on Criminal Minds. And I was just going to ask, how was that experience versus the realm of film and or indie film as far as just the inner workings?
We had kale on Criminal Minds.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
A grilled cheese truck. One night we had a grilled cheese truck, and that was nice too. It's the same if you have people who are passionate and devoted. It's just that on the big money, they have more time.
Right.
So like there was one shot with Matthew Gray Gubler, who played Dr. Reed on the show. He's a big horror fan. And this is how I got the job. And so he wanted these iconic horror shots, and he had a light lined up right here, and he wanted me to hit the light exactly with my eye, leaning in to Adrienne Barbeau. And it was really hard to do. And I wanted to give him the shot and didn't have a way to pace it. But he took the takes that it took to get that. And I know that on the indie, we would have been like, we got to get this or we got to move. That's the only sad thing about not having the money is you have the same passion, a lot of times the same talent. You just don't have the damn time.
Well, even in indie, there are some people that are very passionate about it, even though they may not have the time. Well, all right, especially with like the film that I'm in, we are weekend warriors in this one. So sometimes we are trying to get a specific shot and it'll take 15, 20 takes, which is
hell or high water, rain or shine. You guys are just digging.
Which in some ways is great. It's very taxing on the actors. But, you know, there are some people that are that passionate and want to try to put out the best product that they can. But then there are others like, oh crap, we've only got this for 2 more hours. How many more takes do you think it's going to take, or do we have to scrap it? I mean, it is both sides of the coin, and I totally agree with you on the time frame aspect. I mean, it's hard.
You just reminded me of a Losing the Light story. We were shooting in Burbank this film. I don't know if it ever came out, but the end gag. I'm an Iraqi war veteran, and I've got this chick in my basement who I found in Iraq. She's like a half something, and I thought she was a demon, but it turns out she's really an angel. But she's pissed, and so she rips out my heart at the end of it and holds it up to the camera. It was like the big gag at the end. So we're in this warehouse in Burbank, and we're losing the dark. I mean, the sun is really starting to peep up. And so we have to get this. And so we get to the heart scene and everything's all prepped, and she comes out and she's like, ooh, I got to lay down in that. I'm like, just go. We got to get. And then I hear those fateful words, dude, who's got the heart? Then even worse, I heard, oh, dude, what can we use for a heart? So they go get a roll of toilet paper, dip it in blood, and hand it to her. And she said, I am not holding that. So it turned into a whole mess. And I can't remember how we faked it, but I just remember those words, dude, where's the heart?
Oh,
I have been on sets where where's the prop knife? I don't know. And they hand me a real butcher knife, all kinds of stuff, you know? You just roll with it.
Yeah, you have to. And then you start wondering, at what point am I going to be in character? Or at one point I'm going to actually be a human being here. It's like, ooh, I got this butcher knife. It's been a long day.
Yeah. And so then the actress, she's like, it's okay, right? And you're the one who's got to decide whether to make a deal out of it. Can I do this safely with her? Or do I tell her this could actually kill you? It's just, safety meetings on indie sets are, so that's another difference, is sometimes the safety meeting is not as precise on an indie set.
By the way, that's real. All right. Great job.
I mean, I know that this is all shiny and it looks sharp. It's because it is. But anyway, I mean, we can do this if you want.
Movie called Children of Sorrow. We had a dummy, and he was gonna with a tube. The whole head was gonna blow off because I'm shooting the kid and blowing him up. And so they wanted to make it look extra good, and they loaded the brains with all kinds of beans and stuff. And they used too much pressure, of course. It
just reminds me of Tropic Thunder.
Like, you don't need that much. So the top of the head goes blam and lodges in the stucco of the ceiling. It made a hole up there in the ceiling. Art goes crazy, of course. So they're trying to scrub, a stucco ceiling. They're trying to scrub the blood off.
Oh God.
The only one to top that is the guy who's had a friend who loaned him the location. The only exception being, you cannot mess up the carpets because my wife will kill me. So
You
there's
do
a-
realize
all the
what we're
car-
shooting in here, right?
right, all the carpets are covered in plastic. Well, there's a dog on set, and the dog rolls in the blood, paws the plastic, rolls on the carpet. So now we have a dog who has to be taken to the vet to be shorn as well as ruined carpets.
Uh,
So it was like, yeah, we got to get these shots and get out of here.
See, that's an okay instance of we don't have the time to do this.
Oh, that's like working for the asylum. At the end of the day, what you didn't get, not going to do that, not going to do that, not going to do that. Asylum, at least in the old days when I worked for them, they always had a asylum first AD who was really the director, because they're the ones who are in charge of what happens at the end of the day, what gets, and they will tell the guest director, you either have time to do this shot or you don't. Can I do an insert? Nope. And literally at the end of the day, the pages you missed, you're like, well, we'll just work around those.
Did we have any of those experiences with Erica?
I'm trying to
So that's a
remember.
yes.
But they make good movies, and their movies damn sure get out there. I really admire their business model.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes you wonder how they do it. And it is a miraculous feat that all of a sudden you got, wait, you guys just shot that 3 days ago. How?
Yeah. We were shooting in, we shot a haunting in Salem and Pasadena in a historic home. And the script had this great scene where my character, the sheriff, realizes that there's something beneath the floorboards, and he gets an axe and just like chops the hell out of these floorboards and rips them up. Well, that went by the wayside. I think he ends up like finding the diary just laying on the floor under a sheet or something. So yeah,
Wow,
there's
that's
a lot of
dramatic change.
There's a lot of stuff that's just not going to happen. When you look in the script on an indie film, you think that's not going to happen.
Right. That's why as actors, we look at things, we either chuckle to ourselves. It was like, wow, that's a little ambitious, don't you think?
Incredibly dynamic.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. I know recently you got to hang out and work with Rob Zombie on 3 from Hell. How was that experience? As far as I watching it, it definitely had a really cool, gritty, kind of grindhousey indie vibe to it. But I mean, as far budget, if you will. But yeah, what was your thoughts on that and your experience going through that?
Well, again, there was Kale, a really good salad bar, like one of the best salad bars I've ever seen. Amazing, all these kind of greens, because Rob and his wife are vegetarians. They're really very gentle people, and I respect him so much because he understands the business, he understands his persona, and he knows the difference.
That's cool.
And he's very, very in charge of his set, very in charge.
But
it's
not
very
militant.
clear that when he says this is the way we're going, that's the way you're going. But he makes everybody want to follow him. The other high level director that I saw do this was Jamie Lee Curtis, who hired me for Scream Queens. I did an episode of that, and she directed it. And it's the same. It's that gift of being able to. Everybody wants to follow you, and nobody's pissy about it.
Right.
Continuity on a Rob Zombie set is amazing. Amazing. I mean, they'll come up and check minute bits of dust. He's really big on that. And I really enjoyed working with him too, because he lets you play with the scene.
Yeah.
I asked him some questions about what was written, and he said, well, just use that as a guide. He said, just give me he said, I hired you because I like your creepy, menacing thing. And you just give me that. And if I don't like the direction you're going in, I'll tell you. And that was really, really nice of him.
Yeah.
To do.
That's a very giving director, and it doesn't seem like that, especially with the trend on the news of things, directors getting abuse allegations and so on and so forth. It's refreshing to hear that from about a director that is he
Well, like
he wants to do it,
like you
but
said,
he wants to give everything to everybody at the same time and kind of make it like a big collaborative effort rather than everybody there to do a job.
Yeah.
And he knows that as a director, if you tell an actor, here's why I hired you.
Yeah.
Here's what I like about what you do. That's going to, then you don't feel like, you feel like a collaborator and not just
Yeah.
a servant.
Mhm.
And then more good stuff comes out.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's really fantastic. What a, yeah.
Because
So,
like,
such an incredible experience.
if he had hired me for my nipples, he could have said, I hired you for your really incredible nipples. And then I would have given him nipple stuff. But instead he said, I hired you for that quiet creepiness. So that's what I gave him.
Well, I mean, even if he did hire you for your nipples at that point, he was so nice about it. All you can go is,
Hey, Rob, what about the wife beater?
And so Bill Moseley's wife in that, Lucinda, she's a great theater actress herself. And she played my wife in that. And so one of us had to get shot in the face. Yeah. And I was so happy that it was Lucinda. And she was like, shit. Because the person that gets shot in the face, may get blood in their eyes with the blood cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yep, I get it off screen and you get it right in the eyes. And she sold it. Mosley is another really, really giving actor to work with. I've done 2 pictures with him now. And he's the same way. He really just gives everything to you. He gives the scene to other actors and it makes him come off well.
That's awesome.
That's really fantastic.
Now, is that a different feel from like a really major studio production in comparison to an independent film production? I mean, the vibe is completely different with working with some of the actors.
No, that vibe, the higher up you get, the more you get that I'm going to give the scene to you because I know that'll make me look good. Who else have I experienced that from? Hugh Jackman, who I did a commercial with. It was a short film because in China, he's a spokesman for, at least at that time, for one of the car companies. And it was a short film. I played his boss. Very giving, very giving. Jim Carrey, the same way. So like my experience has been the more professional and higher up, the more actors are like, you can just take the scene because I know what my strength is. And I know that if you shine, the whole scene's going to shine.
That's
and the
awesome.
lower you get, the more you get you can't have the scene because it belongs to me, which kills the whole scene.
So there is a level of humbleness that comes along with it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just give it away. Just throw it. Like when you're doing a take and it's just really not going and you just say, just throw it away. And sometimes that's your take. Like it's the same way. Just if you have a scene with another actor, I don't care what the power dynamic is. I always am inclined to just give them the scene because then better stuff's going to come from them. And I don't know who the editor's going to cut to. Right. If he goes to him, I want him to have good stuff because otherwise the scene dies.
Yeah.
So same thing when you're doing a turnaround. I always tell actors, because sometimes they'll say, oh, you don't have to be here. Sally, you don't have to be here for Sally. She doesn't need you for eyeline. I'm like, no, give it to Sally. Give her everything you gave her on your own close-up because that's going to make her close-up better. Mm-hmm. And then the scene will cut better.
Oh, that's awesome.
That is very cool to know.
Yeah.
I mean, this is wonderful information.
Oh, absolutely.
For independent actors and filmmakers and stuff like that to really encourage them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To, bring a different approach to it rather than being militant or want to strive to do better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Militant never works, does it? Militant's just a bad look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that crack in the whip and just.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like filming is easy by any means. It's already difficult enough. Why make it more difficult?
Yeah.
Why make it more difficult?
Right. If you're already in full makeup as a goat demon and it's 3 a.m. and you've been waiting 5 hours for him to get to your scene, don't make it even harder.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult to do that, but yes, don't make it any harder. I mean,
don't be a bitch.
Exactly.
Because you can get hired a lot just by not being a bitch. Yeah. If the producer is choosing between 2 actors, who do you think they're going to, and the talent's roughly equal, they're always going to go for the one who's easier to get along with.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
too.
that's very good to know.
I mean, some of these words would definitely give some hope to people that feel like they get rejected all the time, you know, and they get that one off bit here and there. It's like, hey,
yeah,
don't be a bitch, and you'll be fine.
Remember what Mr. Bill Oberst Jr. said. Don't be a bitch.
That's my motto. It really is. Bill, do you think you can do this? Yes, I can. I will figure out how. I'll figure out how in a moment, but yes, I can.
That's awesome. But I was going to ask, so how did it all begin for you as far as where you're at now today, as far as within your career? Like where did it all start for you?
Starvation. I did theater for 14 years and that was my career, and I never thought of doing film. And then I got sort of through this series of weird circumstances, I ended up doing an audition for the History Channel for a docudrama called Sherman's March, and they cast me as Sherman. And so that got written up on the Wall Street Journal, and they mentioned my name on the front page. And I was like, wow, this is great. I can go to LA and get an agent and stay over here on the East Coast. And I found out quickly that doesn't work. You either have to be in LA or not. But I did get an agent, and she liked historical stuff too. And she was sending me out for that, and also soccer dads. And I know I was in trouble when one of the first comments I got was, you look like the soccer dad that's going to kill the team and eat them. Shish kebabs, you know?
So was Shish Kebabs the movie that you did shortly afterwards under that same kind of moniker, or?
So a really nice casting director gave me some advice and said, go dark. And I said, how dark? He said, with your face, you can't go dark enough. So I just started going really dark, getting into body horror and just really embracing a genre which I'd loved since I was a kid anyway. I just never knew that the camera would see me as malevolent. And once I started working it, you know how it is, you do a thing and then you do more of that thing because you did that thing, and then you get more of that thing. Mm-hmm. And it became my thing. I've been really lucky.
And with as many credits as you have on your IMDb.
Like I said, I think it's like 212, 213 somewhere. I mean, it's amazing.
And I mean, then that's not what's even come out yet.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I tell actors. You got to keep working because you don't know what leads to what. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it was what led to Criminal Minds was I think it was like $100 a day extra job wearing a diaper in the background of something or other, some supernatural something. But anyway, that's what Goobler had seen. And then he started looking into my other stuff. And then he wanted to hire me for Criminal Minds.
Oh, that is so cool.
So you never know, like you show up and you do the job to the fullest of your abilities, and then you just see what happens from that, but you can't ever stop. Yeah. You just have to, you got to keep on, keep working. Even now, I sometimes will turn down a role now, but I still kind of panic every time I do it because I think, what if it's hard to break that habit of taking every role.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a yes guy on a lot of things as well. And I try my best to, even if I fail at it, I am learning something, and hopefully I'm learning something from somebody. Yeah. And trying to say that having that anxiety as well of turning down something because just something doesn't feel right or I'm too busy.
Well, I mean, and the cool thing is over the course of the last 7 years of us always getting involved in whether it was a pass or fail project, I mean, that's actually what's led us to being able to initiate the Parlor. Yeah. Or actually having a full-on Parlor Productions LLC to go with that. So, and now we're, running full force with it. But yeah, it was those experiences, And
like the only reason sometimes I want to do like a webinars or something. Because I hear from a lot of actors who write, because I did these interviews with Film Courage about how to make it in LA, and they write, and I want to tell them the only reason that a producer will ever pay you anything above scale is if you bring some added value to their project. And the value's either got to be on the front end or the back end. It's got to be with the distributor who says, "Oh yeah, I know Brody Barcode, and if Brody's in the movie, I'm gonna take it. This is one of the actors I want you to have." And if it's not that, you got to give him value on the set, on the production end. You got to be the one who goes the extra mile, because producers will remember that. But you've got to bring added value. It's not enough just to get cast and show up. And then you can bring value on the super far end by doing interviews and PR for your movies and marketing them until you die. If a movie's in your catalog, you're always going to be a champion for it. That kind of value really, it does get you hired.
And I was just going to ask, you recently put out, I believe, what is it, Gothic Goodnight? Is that? Yeah, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's my little pandemic podcast.
Ah.
Like everybody else, I was freaking out like about April. And so I started reading some of my childhood books, and things I liked were Gothic stories like Edgar Allan Poe,
Nice.
old Nathaniel Hawthorne stories, and Phantom of the Opera, and that old Gothic stuff. It comforts me. So then I thought, well, I've never done a podcast, but if I were listening to a podcast, I'd really like it if somebody would read me a short bedtime story. And then I thought, ooh, Gothic Goodnight. So I created the setting of this ancient library, kind of like you'd hear in the 40s on the radio, and an old library keeper who welcomes you in and reads you a very short piece of Gothic fiction, reads you to sleep and tells you good night as the moon rises, and describes the library all around you. And I love libraries and I love Gothic fiction. So it was really fun to do, and it's been fun to develop the character. And we've had 13 episodes so far, and Audible took it. So it's going to be an Audible series, and the first 13 episodes I'm packaging right now to be an Audible original. And then I'll start another series of them around Halloween.
Well, I'll definitely be looking for that on my Audible app, because I've got a subscription at the moment, and I've
typing that right into iHeartRadio.
It'll put you to sleep. I guarantee it, because I really wanted a podcast that you couldn't hardly stay awake through, that would put you to sleep. So I experimented with this style where the voice gradually begins to mimic the rhythm of the heartbeat. Ooh. And then once it gets into that groove for a few minutes, then it starts to go a little slower than a heartbeat, and a little slower, until by the end of it, your heart has really, and your breathing has really slowed. So if people turn off the lights and take it to bed with them, I guarantee you it'll put you to sleep. It's been really fascinating to me to research that and to do it. And I test each one after they're done by taking it to bed with me. And if I can stay awake through it, then I'm like, no, it's just not good.
Well, at least there is the seal of approval for keeping consistent on what you want everybody else to hear. That's awesome. And that really is cool and creative.
Bill's guaranteed this will put you to sleep.
Guaranteed. My old library keeper, he has this sort of Vincent Price-ish literate horror host character that I really have always liked. Like, I don't like the stupid ones that are like, whoa, but I really like the ones who say like, well, hello. I'm glad you're here for our lycanthrope lesson. That kind of stuff I really like. So that's what I tried to mimic. I love the Vincent Price feel.
So were you a fan of Dr. Paul Bearer?
Oh, I've never heard that. Where was Dr. Paul Bearer? Where did he broadcast?
Oh, he was a
you're talking about Creature Feature.
Yeah.
That was when we were when we were kids, Dr. Paul Bearer. He would do the kind of like
almost
well,
like Elvira
yeah,
esque.
kind
It
of,
was like the male version of Elvira
yeah,
mixed with a little bit of
or like vampire. It was just
creep show.
it was the Saturday afternoon horror creature feature shows.
Yes.
And he would come out and I'm Dr. Paul Bear. I almost feel like speaking of earlier ago with Rob Zombie, you could see kind of those character-esque vibes within that character.
I'll have to look it up, and I'll send you a like a wiki or something about Dr. Paul Bear. It was one thing that I grew up with. Just like I'm sitting down seeing some sort of classic horror, or kind of like the way Creep Show did with like the skits.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, it was the whole facade. He'd come out of the coffin, and almost kind of Dark Shadows esque. As far as the feel and the vibe. But,
I mean, in today's terms, it would look hokey as all get out. But when I was little, it was one of those like, ooh, kind of creepy.
I couldn't,
And my parents are gonna let me watch it. Cool.
Absolutely. Horror should be fun. That's what people who aren't really into horror, they don't get it. I mean, yeah, some of it should be scary as shit and brutal and bloody and really disturbing, but at the same time, it should be weirdly fun.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, nowadays, a lot of horror is not really horror anymore. It's gore. It's nothing but gore, but horror kind of tickles a little bit with the anxiety and the inner fear of everything, to where when you jump, there's a reason rather than it's a Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare.
Right.
And like I one movie that my parents still tell this story today is for the movie House. The first one. Epic movie. I mean, yes, YouTube, you're going to get to hear a story about me when I was 3 years old. I'm sitting there in my underwear watching this movie. My dad is sitting there getting ready to come up. And if anybody remembers the wooden chairs that are slatted and you had the tie-on cushions, my mother's like, don't you dare do that to him. You're going to give him nightmares. Don't you dare do it. And as soon as one of the monsters came out of the closet, he reaches through there and grabs me. My eyes never, ever left that television. And all you got out of me was, don't do that. Too scary. Too scary. But I was glued to it. I still love that movie today. Same thing with Fright Night.
Oh, yeah.
Fright Night 2, even though it's Fright Night 2 is a lot more hokey, more like Once Bitten level, but still great movies. Critters.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with some of those classics, even The Fly.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, was The Fly really a horror movie?
I always had a hard time going to sleep there after the revised version of The Fly there with Jeff Goldblum. It was always that bar scene with the arm wrestling scene. That one always got me. But well, and I apologize, Bill. I know we're kind of cutting out on time here, but any final good words of advice for the up and coming indie actors, filmmakers?
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it unless there's a second part to that sentence. Don't do it unless you just can't not do it. Take a cold shower. Swear to God that you're not going to do this crazy thing. There's absolutely no way. I'm not going to do it. I'm going straight. Oh God, I can't. I have to do it. I can't go straight. If you get to that point, then okay, because then you're ready for what the business is going to hand you. And if you don't have that, I've got to do this, not because you're going to be famous or rich or anything else, but just because there's something in you that says, I have to do this. You won't have any chance But if it's that strong in you and you're that crazy, then have at it, and good things will probably happen.
It's definitely not an easy business.
But
And
nobody's gonna look out for you. Nobody's gonna help you. Nobody's gonna give you a shot unless they're sleeping with you, and then it's gonna wear off. You know how that goes. So you got to get it quickly before the orgasms get boring. But under ordinary circumstances, nobody's gonna help you. Nobody's gonna give you anything. So you've got to. No agent will want to touch you until you can no longer help them.
right.
Yeah.
Then they're at the point where I probably didn't say that right, but the agent won't help you until you can help them.
Yeah.
So even if you get a talent agent, you're still going to have to do 90% of the work yourself. So it's just a relentless grind, but it can really be a lot of fun if you have that crazy passion for it. But give the scene away. Don't take. Give. Because then
know your boundaries.
Yes, one day you're going to be given something away, and afterwards the editor or the DIT is going to come to you and say, your eyes in that reaction shot, that's what we're cutting to in this scene because you were right there. And then you're like, yes, give it away.
And don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
For some reason I see Parlor t-shirts on that, and just written across the back says that don't be a bitch. Bill Oberst Jr. Signed and approved by
Bill, I'm gonna
Jr.
get you a wife beater with your image. Mustard stain, don't be a bitch. Gift from the Parlor.
Absolutely love it. Love it.
And then you have to let us know which movie that you actually have it in, so this way we can go.
You guys are really nice to me and to other indie folks. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. And hopefully we can hang out again much sooner than later.
Let's make a movie together.
And yeah.
Yes. That would be amazing.
Now that we're getting everything back on track and moving forward at full speed, yeah, let's do that. Let's work together. Because like I said, I had you at the top of the list on 333, so let's keep it that way.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you again so much, man. We greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
And everybody, this is Bill Oberst Jr. This is Brody and Ryan from the Parlor. You can subscribe to our podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and a lot more. The subscription link will be over here. I got it over right, and it's more over underneath Bill's screen. And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful night.
Have a happy one.